Well, when you saw the schedule at the beginning of the year, you saw this one, and you probably thought we were going to lose anyway. But if you watched the same game I did, we could have. I don't want to say should have. I know you can win any game, but that game was right there for us to take. We had the better defense. I think all our players played good enough, except maybe one, and unfortunately, it's probably the most important position on the field. So, do you think a better quarterback wins that game?
I don't know. I think not statistically, they say throw the stats out the window. Of course, when we win close games and we have bad stats, they always say,
Sure.
"Oh, if we were playing somebody else, we would have won." I guess they couldn't have said that against Denver. They're saying if he had was playing at the top of his game, Manning certainly isn't. If you look at the newspaper today, there was an article from Denver. They always put one article from Denver, and they're talking about the old man, aged old time, catching up
Sure.
to Manning and those long passes. They started off nice, and then they kind of fluttered, and they were easy interceptions. They only asked Manning to throw the ball 20 times. Our guy threw it 57 times, a Buffalo Bills all-time record, more than Jack Kemp ever threw it, more than Jim Kelly ever threw it, more than any quarterback in the history
Sure.
of the Bills. So I don't know. He threw it to 355 yards. They say, well, the end of it was all garbage time.
Was it though? Because
When you lose a game, when you lose, say you're up 50 to 25 to 10, and then they'll say any team they'll on the radio they'll let one get away. Was it all garbage time when they let it get away when the people caught up? There's 60 minutes
Sure.
of playing time. You have 60 minutes. I don't care when you get the yards, but in a way they're right because. I guess this is, you said you have a problem with coaching. 4th and 2, we got the ball deep in our own zone and we punt it with 5 minutes to go, 5 minutes and change to go. We're down two scores and only have 2 timeouts left. All Denver does, and all they have to do, is run the ball 3 times into the middle. They lost 5 yards on one of them. He got tackled. Hughes tackled him 5 yards back, and then punt the ball. And essentially what it did was that was the end of the game because even if we run down and score, which we did, you'll see right here, Hogan gets his touchdown. We still have to kick the ball back off and get an onside kick, and which is impossible because there's no time left. So we can't kick off. We can't let them get the ball again. So you're basically betting at that point that you are going to get an onside kick or get Denver to turn the ball over. So the game's over at that point. I mean, so that's coaching right there. That's coaching. You gave away the point. Now, they say you want to prolong the game. All it does is prolong the end of the game because you're saying if you go for 4th and 2 and you miss it, you give them the ball at the 23-yard line, all they have to do is kick a field goal. They're up by 3 scores now, and that's really over. But either way, you lost. So it doesn't matter how you lose.
But the difference, no, I think it does because while the chances of making the 4th and 2 are probably better than getting the onside kick,
yes.
right? Okay,
so
we have that first. But
yeah.
But if you miss that 4th and 2, you do, it is a definite. It's a 100% loss. Like you definitely lose. Now, if you kick it and it all makes sense, it's not a definite loss. And if you remember that last drive, remember the scoring drive.
Yeah.
We got some. It shouldn't have taken that long. We had bonehead penalties, things like elongated that drive for whatever reason. We probably added an extra almost a minute. I mean, I remember watching it being like, we just can't catch a break. It really, and I know people don't like the coach, but as far as I'm concerned, we are better this year, and I need to see another year. And I would love to see him. I'd love to see him with a Manning, a Rodgers. That's what I think, and I think our defense put us in a position to win that game. But I would like to see him with a new quarterback. I want to see the coach back again. I think we're on the right direction.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm happy with the offensive coordinator. You got to learn how to win again. Is the bottom line. Is this guy a winning coach? He's 13-16 since he's been here. He's got to win the rest of them just to be 500 right now for his career in Buffalo.
For this year. Oh, win the rest of them for the career, but this year we
can. 13-16 right now as it stands.
Yeah, and I think we both agree 8-8 is what we're looking at this year. It's just it screams 8-8. We're and the whole season. If you know,
I hope they go 9-7. I think they could win the home game against Green Bay. I still think they can do it. Maybe they'll be a little bit more aggressive and go after it. I don't know. Maybe now they got what the hell? There's what's there to lose now? I mean, be aggressive. Throw the ball down the field.
They throw it 57 times, and what? Okay, so let's go through. I know you got some videos queued up. Let's talk about that. Throw it deep. Big play, hitting Sammy Watkins on a long ball, but was it all it could have been?
No, I mean, if you look right here, where you see him slowing down and coming back to get the ball. Now, of course, the defensive back doesn't make the move here because he knows he's beat long. He's just hustling, trying to get part of it. He's got no idea where the ball is. And so, a lot of times they call it the back shoulder throw. But here, if that ball's thrown in stride and Sammy doesn't have to turn, he just walks into the end zone, and that's the end of the play right there, And I don't know if that's a drive that we scored a touchdown eventually on, but those are the types of plays that you'll just win the game with. I remember watching again with Troy Aikman. When I used to have fantasy football team, I had Troy Aikman one year. I think could be a great quarterback. But statistically, he was terrible.
Sure.
Winning, he was great. He'd always win the game. He would be 17 for 22 or 16 for 20 for 157 yards. Exactly what Manning did. They'd hand off the ball 13
Nothing
times.
wrong with that.
Get three rushing touchdowns. But he'd hit one bomb, when they needed it. He'd hit those third downs when they needed it. So I don't know. This kid, what about Sullivan's calling it the slide. He's going to call this game the slide, where Orton takes a slide on a 3rd and 2, where he could have not easily, he probably would have taken a couple of shots to the ribs, but he would have kept the drive alive instead of going off.
Yeah.
And 3rd down, I think they were 6 of 17. And
but he was.
That was one of the times he didn't get it.
But he was at one point in the second half. He was, if I recall correctly, and I'm sure someone will call me out on it if I'm not. I believe he was 7 for 7 on 3rd down at one point. Completions. I mean, he wasn't getting the first down, but he was making the throws. Another thing, if you notice, Orton does, and I don't want to browbeat him too much, although I do have a problem with the way he's playing.
We're 9 for 16, so he missed 7.
He gets a little rush going, and did you see where he just kind of crinkles up like a little baby?
That's what he said too. He said,
what's happening?
I missed that, but they said that he
just gave up, and there was still seconds
he turned his
clicking.
back, and he just fumbled.
People have a problem with the line too, and I remember on a Bills website today they mentioned all the reasons why Marrone should be fired, and they said, hey, the offensive line stinks, and he's supposed to be good at that. I think there's enough time to throw that ball effectively. Orton's is there, and then Orton just kind of he can't move around the pocket, and you saw, I don't know if you have a clip for this one, he rolls out to his right, and he throws to Chandler, and he just hits him in the feet. Chandler is 6'7", just sitting there. And once he gets on the move, he can't throw it. He just can't. He has to just go back, and that's it. He can just do drop back, step forward, throw. There's no other moves.
I think the positives are definitely the defense. You look at our 2 cornerbacks today. They both hit an interception. One hit an interception and a fumble recovery. This Buffalo kid. I guess speaking of Buffalo kids, they cut Williams today, I heard. They
of course.
Him off the line. They didn't play him all year. I still don't get that. So I kind of wonder in my head, what does Marrone, what is he good at? What is he good at? What do you think his best?
Well, I mean, you know what? We are developing other players. I mean, Henderson is still a good right tackle for what he was, and he's coming up a 7th-round pick. I know they say, first round, whatever. But, they are coming together. There's he can only do so much with what he has. And we talk about the line all day, but the guards just aren't very good.
What has he done? I mean, what do you think his best attributes as a coach?
To me, I think that just being the leader of the team is the best part. Is what he's the best at.
It still seems like he's always got his head down. He's like, why are you going to?
Well, so do I.
But because just.
I've watched some of those.
You started off at the beginning of this thing. You started saying, "If only we could have done this, or if only we could have done that, we'd have won that game." Now, I don't know if you guys are old enough. I don't know how many people are in their 50s that are watching this thing. But Harvey Johnson was the coach of the Buffalo Bills, 1960s, in the early 70s, and he was like 1-13. We only had 14 games last year. Back then, and then it's like we had O.J. Simpson, and we got the worst, the first overall picks and everything. They asked him, they said, if we would have done this or if we would have done that, we could have won that game. And he says, if shit. I'm sick of hearing if. He says, and this is what he says right to all he goes, did you hear this one before?
No, I have not.
He goes, if the Pilgrims would have killed a cat and ate a cat, and instead of a turkey, we'd be eating pussy for Thanksgiving. So if shit, you either win or you lose. That's the bottom line.
Well,
that's
that is
Harvey
true.
Johnson, and they fired his ass. But, I thought, like I said before, all these coaches we've had since Marv Levy have been terrible. Williams and even the guy, Giron, I just thought he was such a blockhead. But Giron's got a better record than this coach right now.
Yeah, but not, you're looking at a smaller sample size. The team's getting better. I don't know. He's still bringing in the defensive coordinator. He's still working with those other players. I still think there's a lot to like. And, hey, just like I saw a lot out there, and I've seen it all year, where big plays were left on the field that could have been made. He's not out there.
He's not the one making those plays.
So I think we're a little bit. This is what happens when you have a team that's 8-8.
Yeah.
You see positives and you see negatives together. You see 8 negatives and you see 8 positives, and then you mash them together, and you got a mediocre team. You put a better quarterback on there. Coach looks great. Everyone says he's a genius.
Sammy Watkins, rookie year, he's broke a record now. He's got the most passes in the history of the Buffalo Bills as a rookie. Everyone says they should be targeted.
He's going to be better next year. So how are we going to get him the ball? How is we going to turn 54? Sure. How are we going to turn 54 catches into 100, 15 touchdowns, 1,500 yards? He has the ability
to do that.
Are we just going to waste him?
Who can get him the ball? Is it E.J. Manuel? Is that possible? Sitting on the bench, we'll never know. We can't have another year of sitting around waiting for somebody to do it. Well, could Orton be the guy? He's a perennial 500 guy, So what are we going to do? Is there RG3 in the future? Is there a Sam
free
Bradford?
Agent quarterbacks,
Is there a free agent? Is it possible that they're going to cut Kaepernick and he's going to?
No, they won't do that. They'll probably cut that coach. And who knows?
They lost to Oakland. If the Bills lose to Oakland, oh my God, it'll be brutal.
Well, sure, and I'm sure,
All right, what are we going to do against Green Bay next week?
Well, hopefully we just sack that Rodgers. In fact, we're going to see what it is that we want to see in that Ralph Wilson Stadium. A number 12, right? Firing the ball 80 yards downfield.
Yeah, and maybe I don't know what the coaches will ever they'll start saying, let's just start throwing the ball, throw some bombs. I don't know. Do something. Just to
you know what? He just doesn't. Again, they've tried throwing to Goodwin a couple. Orton can't throw the bomb long enough.
Yeah.
Manuel can throw it long enough. He can't hit anyone.
Yeah.
So you have two quarterbacks completely opposite. Manuel can run. He can move. Orton can't.
But
move.
even then, at the beginning of the season, they were telling him to run out of bounds, and he came up shy a couple times on first downs.
Well, no, I'm not. I mean, just move out of the pocket.
Oh, just to stay alive. Yeah.
Instead of, and again, you guys saw it, that the pressure comes.
Turtles.
It was the worst. Oh, so what do we want? We just want to see some positive play for the rest of the year. No one here thinks we're going to make it to the playoffs.
I try to change things up. This is the first time in a loss I wear a Buffalo Bills jersey. This is a sweater I got like in the 1990s when they were actually winning. I don't know where I came up, but it's real classy. And this little bit of thing might give us some luck. Let's turn it around, Buffalo. Let's beat Green Bay.
Yeah.